Manganese. Now, manganese is present in lots of soils. A lot of soils in Britain, you can dig them up, and about a foot down you'll find these little dark nodules, which are in fact manganese. Very often, though, it's not in an available form, and plants require quite a lower than neutral pH to absorb lots of manganese, and we like to grow crops at a neutral pH, which makes the manganese less available. The deficiency usually presents itself as areas in the field where growth is restricted and plants are simply paler, often with a marbling of the leaf. The manganese deficiency cannot be corrected by a soil application because, as I said before, the manganese is in the soil, just the plant can't get it. Crops that are particularly susceptible to manganese include cereals, but pretty much all arable crops are susceptible to manganese deficiency. And it's probably the most common foliar micronutrient trace element that we get to use, certainly in Northern Europe. The deficiency symptoms, as I said, are easy to see. The plants become floppy, they don't do well, they're pale. That's because manganese is important in lots of areas of the plant's metabolism and also in forming structure. One of the big areas that manganese can be really beneficial to crops, even if no deficiency is obvious, is in improving their overwintering capability. Nearly all days where we get selective crop damage by frost in Northern Europe, you go to Denmark, Sweden, Norway, if you find plants that are being wiped out at low temperatures and greener areas within the field, you can always find that manganese is low in those areas that are most damaged by cold weather. Manganese needs to be applied early in the life of the crop for the seedling to develop and thrive. It's often very deficient on black soils, high organic soils, and in some cases multiple applications of manganese are more beneficial than multiple applications of nitrogen on those soils. It's an interesting interrelation. The other area of interrelationship with manganese is with copper. If we put a large dose of manganese on a plant, it will inhibit that plant's availability to metabolize copper. And strangely, vice versa. If we have to put a lot of copper on, manganese metabolism becomes restricted. Manganese is mainly used as part of a prophylactic program. Most good agronomists and farmers will know where those manganese patches are going to appear in their fields, and they will treat before they see deficiency symptoms because that's the economical way of doing it. Manganese comes in many forms, and it's interesting that it's one of the materials that is most capable of improved activity by the type of formulation you put it in. We have instances where we can apply a tenth less manganese metal than simply using manganese sulfate, and yet 3 weeks later we have more manganese in the plant than if we put 10 times more on in a different form. It's very, very supported by formulation type.